Yeah, we have their
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Sir Charles.
I missed being here last week. I'm glad I'm here this week. And it's so nice to see everybody.
We missed you.
Well, that's nice. It's nice to have that connection. And it's nice that we have a place like this where we can come together and share with one another in a deeper meaning of what life is all about for us. So, as always, I'm glad to see you and I welcome you. And to start the day off, I'm going to light our Christ candle. Well, that and that. I got too many things to deal with. This is part of the show. Okay, so I'm going to light this candle, which represents the Christ perfection indwelling each of us. Not doing very well. There we go.
Say it in the mic. We didn't hear it. Say it again in the mic.
Say it again. Welcome.
No, why would we like the Christ candle? I
I'm
just-
about to get to that point. I've just lit what represents the Christ candle, that represents that spiritual part of us that we need to be more aware of, right?
Right.
Much more aware of, because it's at the core of everything that is. Okay, so
My turn.
I think I'm done for the day.
I'd like to introduce Charles. Some of you might not know him. He has 2 honorary doctorates from Emerson Theological Seminary for books he's written on quantum physics and metaphysics, and he's ordained by another Unity minister, and I've known him since he was 14, and I was 14 at the same time. You're supposed to laugh at that. And now we're both 80. And I invited him to come up here from Atlanta, where he lived, to teach his book at the center. And by that time, he'd written 3 more. How many have you published now? 7 so far published.
So far.
And you can purchase them out here. And so it turned out that instead of just coming up to teach one book, he came up here to live permanently and to co-lead this center with me. But just so you know, he's a volunteer. He does it for the love of doing it. I do it for the money.
Somebody said
As I've said before, I pay you to let me do it. So, in a minute, we're gonna have Edward come up and read the daily word, but for now, let's find our affirmation in the program folder. Our opening affirmation. Are you ready? Together. We are a radiating center of divine love, mighty to attract our good and to radiate good to others. And silently in your heart. Oh man. Now Edward's going to read our daily word. Because he's the platform assistant for today.
I'll find it for you. Here, hold on a second. I got it. June 8th.
Okay.
I was supposed to have it ready. Here.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Pride Month.
Yeah.
Pride.
The daily word today is kindness. Today, I will be kind to others. When I think of being kind, I am reminded of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It takes only a moment and no special effort to be kind. I can send a smile to a stranger, hold the door for the person behind me, or let someone go ahead of me in line. These small acts of kindness bless everyone involved. Other kind efforts may take more thought. I think of how I prefer to be treated. I certainly want to be heard and respected. I want to know my views and opinions matter. I want others to see my value and treat me with dignity. I hold this thought as I think of others. I see people imbued with the Spirit of God. Kindness flows from me to bless others. In Proverbs 21:21, whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life and honor.
Yeah.
Take it away, Lynn.
Okay. I'm gonna have trouble singing this morning because I
As the Cowardly Lion would say, ain't it the truth? So, in the announcements that I have listed, there's only 3 things. How you like that? But it's going to take a long time, longer than my sermon. First is events. Our Tuesday night sharing new perspectives is full for the next 3 weeks. And the first one is Jay Babcock, who's going to speak on what it feels like to be in our community. What? No one.
Lucas.
See what I did? Lucas Babcock. I found out Jay Babcock is one of my daughter's best friends out in California. Sorry. Lucas Babcock. And I first noticed him when he was speaking up at the Indivisible and Lakeshore meetings. He had a wonderful way of addressing matters of concern and drawing young people into. He held a special gathering for young people to come at the, what's it called, that place up on Lake by the movie theater.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he is a local community leader and very prominent in the gay pride movement, right?
Mhm.
And he's very well known by people. And so we're getting more acquainted and more sensitized to that whole phenomenon. And that's what we're here for, is to engage with things as they occur in our lives and in our community life. And then the following week is a gal named Daisy Pineda. I remember because it's like pinata, only with an E. Yeah, she's in her mid-20s. She's just a lovely person. I don't know how you met her
Indivisible.
at Indivisible. I didn't meet her. And so she tells her story about how her parents had to flee to Mexico for being undocumented. But she was born here, so she wanted to talk about her experience of being immigrants from different sides of it. And then the third Tuesday, we have Maggie Doyle, who is likewise a leader among younger people. You know about her?
Oh yeah, she's a neighbor.
She's a neighbor of yours. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is quite, what's the word, when you have coincidences, what's that called? Synchronistic, yeah. So I was at the Indivisible meeting last Monday, and this woman with long red hair spoke up and said some beautiful words about being in community together and standing together. And it sounded exactly like it had the exact same tenor as what I have at the close of a lot of my sermons. And I say we have to choose for the greater good. So I rushed up to her after the meeting was over, and I said, would you come and speak at my church? Because I like what you said at this meeting. And she said, sure, anytime. And I found out her name was Maggie Doyle from Mary. And I came home and I had an email from this gal, Karen Bednarik, who's a big activist who sends out a lot of emails about the damage that's going on in Gaza. And her email said, Maggie Doyle for president. This gal has really a great message, and she's really standing up for us and our rights. And so we've invited her to speak at our New Perspectives on the following Tuesday, which takes us to what? Okay, 10/17, the 24th. And she's very well liked by so many people I know.
She's super passionate too.
How many know Kevin Kodos? He's like the videographer. And I sent a message out to him. I said, would you come and video Maggie Doyle when she comes? He said, anytime Maggie Doyle speaks, I will be there to video. Right? Like, how does he know?
Gets around.
He gets around.
So we are getting our toes wet in the events of the moment. And I stood up at the last couple meetings ago and said, it's like the civil rights movement. I don't know where to stand. I don't want to be in opposition to people, but I don't want to be a bystander when things matter. And so I'm trying to sensitively have a backbone and be righteous, just like the people who stood with the civil rights movement. These are serious times. So, enough of that. Okay, now another event I'm attempting to gather together is this what I call a natural joy meetup, and it's for kids from 5 to 12. And we've tried to do it every Saturday that everybody who's in that age range that's in our network can come. Now we're up to June 28th. Can you all make it June 28th? See, just look into that. That's what we're attempting. So I've got 2 people that can do 28th, and that's little Adele. She's 6. Her parents are Davis, Craig Davis and Brittany Davis. And I spent the day with Brittany Friday. She's committed to doing it on the 28th. And then also Amber Davy. Everybody's name starts with D. Amber Davy, who has little Athena, and she's also 6. And I just want to show you what I've got so you can see how delightful it is. I just got these things at the clearance at Walmart. So this is a miniature piñata.
Oh my.
And this to put our aspirations in, to drop in, to be a container for the dreams and aspirations we hold. And these are these are odd little baking cups. I don't know. Can you see they're like a flower? And this is something that I imagine I'll use to invite the kids to invent a game, to show the idea you can make a game with anything. And likewise, these cookie cutters of stars that fit in each other. I imagine creating a game where each child has a different size star behind their back, and the person who's it tries to guess which person has the star that will fit their star, or something like that. That's how it goes. And then I have stickers. These are going to go in our toy chest. Kids still like stickers, right? And these are really pretty stickers. They were only 75 cents. And we have a toy chest. We're working on getting it smaller so that we can take it out of that spot and put it under this table here. But for right now, we're still in the wicker chest. And as I announced last week, the toys in there are for everybody, not just children. But hopefully you'll take it to give to a child that you're welcome to do that. Or just keep it yourself. Be a child. That's fine. Now what else? Oh yes, mailings. Don't be surprised if you get a packet in the mail that has all of our recent program folders and our annual report from the membership meeting that we had in April, because a lot of people didn't pick those reports up. So I have the description of all the activities we've had for the past 12 months, and they're out there still. The sheets are out there for you to pick up, but I actually mailed them to people who don't get in here, like Joni Verberg-Mose and Ruth Johnson and the gal way out down the road, even Amber. So I sent out 5 packets, and I just want to point out to you that although we don't have a newsletter per se, that our program folders are a kind of newsletter because they have all of our news. They have a review of every sermon on the right-hand side of the inside of the program folder, so you can see what's been said every week. And, it's got, all the reminders of our activities. So help yourself to the program folders. And plus, I pride myself on the cover picture invoking the mood and the meaning of what we're talking about, And so a picture is worth 1,000 words, in a sense, And did anybody see in our email and also our Facebook page, I took the liberty of using a childhood photograph of my own girls. And it's staged by the photographer. I know it's staged, but it's kind of cute. So take a look at it. Becky and Sarah, when they were tiny little girls. So, any other announcements for the good of the order that you want to share? That wasn't too long, was it? Too long.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. But the sermon is really short, see, so. All right, here we go.
Inside your program is printout. Oh, when I view the morning. Here we go. Now we don't have.
So,
Can somebody pass me my notes? I gave my sermon notes too.
oh, I didn't know, I thought you had.
That's my only copy. Yeah, because I'm quoting Carolyn, so I had to get her permission. So do I have your permission? Okay. I think it's fine. Okay, here we go. So how do you clean up a breakdown? And the answer? By taking complete responsibility for it. This whole area is actually the skills involved in communication. Do you think communication is outside the realm of spirituality? I mean, think of the opening of the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You can take that in a lot of different ways. Someone has said, our lives are given by our ability to communicate. I find that to be so deeply true. Things can go so differently depending on how we communicate them, how we present them, how we articulate them. Now, the spiritual principle, the spiritual practice that is behind our ability to clean up something is that love is the radiant energy that we're using. You know, our sign says love first. You know, Jesus's whole essence is love. And so we are invoking that spiritual principle when we address a messed up situation. That's what we're calling broken down, because a breakdown doesn't blame anybody. It just acknowledges that things have fallen and look, the connection is lost. We're using the spiritual principle that we are all the Christ in expression, that we are all worthy of restoration to peace and wholeness. We are all worthy, especially the other person. Forgiveness is one of the frequent themes of Jesus' teaching. I mean, you could just bring it to mind. How many times should we forgive, Master? 7 times? No, I tell you, 70 times 7. Forgive, because the measure with which you meet, it shall be meted unto you. Judge not, lest ye be judged. All those little, teachings that Jesus focused on, that he landed on, were about this very thing of restoring peace, understanding, wholeness between each other. And we really cannot create our own cleanup of a breakdown unless we do that inner work of forgiveness. In other words, you can't go to somebody and expect, I'm really sorry that I yelled at you, but you're still mad at them. That's inauthentic. That's dishonest. We're not talking about that. Do you realize, did you know that energetically holding on to any resentment or unforgiveness actually blocks the flow of good into our lives? It actually blocks the flow of abundance. If you feel as though you're not prospering as you would like to, take a look at if you're holding any unforgiveness or resentment, because that will greatly open your channel for being able to receive the good that God has for you. Now, I find that one of the biggest overcomings I have to make is to overcome fear. Yeah, the fear of looking bad, the fear of being wrong, the fear of being dominated, the fear of being without a justification, and just plain losing. We must forgive ourselves for all this fear. We must take action to be fearless. Be fearless. Fear is a vibration that is so cloudy and dark, So even if there are things that might scare you, if you can generate an ethos, an aura that is not fear-based, that has acknowledged that I refuse to be controlled by fear within myself or from others, making great, great progress. You must be gracious, generous, kind, and heart connected. Why? Because if you're not, then that's the soup that you're going to live in. Resistant, hard-hearted, not gracious, not generous, not kind. I look back at that hilarious exchange on the airplane I told you about. If you remember, I went on a trip and I got on an airplane and 3 seats, and this stranger came up to me and with a great big cup of coffee, and he says, "I'm not going to spill any coffee on you." And he looked at my pristine coat that I was wearing, and a few minutes later he said again, "I'm not going to get anything spilled on you." And I just leaned back and I said, "I don't care what happens." Okay, that's the attitude we need to cultivate. And you know what he said? I gotta tell you, he said, "Well, that's hot." I cracked up, and then after I stopped laughing, I looked at him and I said, "Did you just say that's hot?" He said, "Yes, I did." And I laughed all over again. Anyway, yeah, you don't care what happens, because whatever happens, you're going to look for the good in it, and you're going to roll with it. You have to stop keeping track. Like when they say, "How's your day going?" well, I broke a fingernail and I lost a button, I scratched my shoe and my car got dinged. You're better off to say, I don't remember the past. I'm in the now moment. There's a Unity minister, Gregory Geis. He's so extraordinary. He's in Detroit. He always says when somebody says, how are you? He says, I'm blessed. Yeah. So to get really down to it, how do you clean up a breakdown? Well, you prepare very deliberately and very carefully. So I'm going to cite the incident. Oh, no, sorry. The first thing to do is cite the incident from the viewpoint of the other person. And I have permission to use Carolyn as an example of how this happened. So, example, you say, I know when you told me that you were concerned about how the promotion for X as merchandise was worded, you were trying to show me something that could have been better managed. And then you admit your offense. Example, and when I responded by saying, picky, picky, it was rude. Okay. And then honor the other person's feelings. For example, I didn't mean to step on your toes. I'm so sorry to have offended you. I apologize. I hope you will be able to excuse my behavior. It was not my intention to offend you. I apologize. And you can explain yourself. Say, example, I reacted defensively and let that dictate my actions. Reacting defensively is what we get past when we really cultivate this non-judgment attitude. And then make an agreement for the future that gives the other person the opportunity to trust you again. Example, in the future I will be more self-aware, not to see feedback as criticism and have the need to defend myself. And aren't we all working on that? Yeah. So I invite you to take this concept, cleaning up a breakdown or a misunderstanding, and use it. If there is a messed up situation in your life, clean it up. If there's a misunderstanding, clean it up. If there are hurt feelings, clean it up. The healing that you feel from this action is so beautiful. In Daniel Nehemiah's song, One Power, he says, it's the anger we abandon for its love that's most deep. It's one power, the power of the love in you and me. Amen.
Now we can see.
We're going to sing number 69. We're going to do it 2 times. We enter into our time of meditation.
So let's take some really deep breaths now and center ourselves in the divine light that burns, shines, leads, and heals us at every level. To say, I am God, can mean so many things. It can mean you think of God as a presence with you, guiding you, loving you. It can mean that you think of God as your own identity, realizing your own power to live as that very God. It could be all these things. But there truly is no difference. There's no separation. All is all. And so as we rest for a time in the realization of the allness of the divine, we abide in the silence. For truly, there is but one presence and one power in me and in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
As we take our gifts in our hands to bless them with love, let us realize the power we have to direct the flow of abundance into the lives of people everywhere. We dedicate these gifts to the intention of Unity Spiritual Center to be a presence and influence for the highest good in the world. So, let's say our affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive.
Thank you.
And now I just dedicate these offerings. You can just stay back there if you want to. Yeah. We infuse them with energy, dedicating them to the greater good, to cooperation, to understanding, to this work that is dedicated to expressing the Christ Spirit everywhere. Thank you. So now let's join together in singing our closing circle, peace song and prayer for protection.
light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth. You're welcome to stay for coffee and whatever else we got.